Dear members, good morning and warm welcome to all of you to the 37th Annual General Meeting of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited, held through video conferencing facility or other audiovisual means. For the smooth conduct of the meeting, all the members will be in mute mode. Audio and video facility will be enabled for those members who have registered themselves as speaker shareholders once the company secretary announces to commence question and answer session. If you wish to raise any queries during the meeting, please post the queries by clicking on the communicate icon available on the screen. Kindly mention your email ID, DP ID, client ID, and mobile number in the text box while posting your question so that it is easy for us to send you replies for your questions, if any. Please note that as per the requirements of the law, the proceedings of annual general meeting will be recorded and transcript of the same will be available on the website of the company. I now hand over the proceedings to Mr. Satish Reddy, Chairman of Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
So very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to the 37th Annual General Meeting for joining us today. First, I would like to introduce the Board of Directors of the company, starting with our Lead Director, Prasad Menon, on the stage. We have Kalpana Morparia joining us from Mumbai today. We have Bruce Carter joining in from Seattle in the US. We have Sridhar Iyengar joining in from San Francisco in the US. We have Leo Puri joining us from Singapore. We have Shika Sharma joining in from Mumbai, Alan Oberman from Toronto, and GV Prasad, the co-chairman and managing director from Hyderabad.
Thank you, Satish. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the company, I welcome all the members of the company and their representatives, all the board members, auditors, and other invitees to this 37th Annual General Meeting of your company. I would like to mention that Mr. Satish Reddy, Chairman, Mr. GV Prasad, Co-Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Prasad Menon, Lead Independent Director and Chairman of Nomination, Governance and Remuneration Committee and CSR Committee, Mr. Irez Israeli, Chief Executive Officer, and Mr. Parag Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer, are present at Dr. Reddy's corporate office in Hyderabad. All other independent directors, including chairpersons of Stakeholders Relationship Committee and Audit Committee, auditors and other invitees are participating from their respective locations. Before we start the proceedings of this meeting, I would like to state that the meeting is being held through video conference facility or other audiovisual means in compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, rules made thereunder, SEBI listing obligations and disclosure requirements regulations 2015 to be read with general circulars dated April 8, 2020, April 13, 2020, May 5th, 2020 and January 13, 2021 respectively, issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and SEBI circulars dated May 12, 2020 and January 15, 2021 respectively. The company has engaged the services of National Securities Depository Limited to provide remote e-voting facility and e-voting facility during the AGM. Therefore, any members who have not yet cast their votes electronically and who are participating in the meeting have an opportunity to cast their votes during the meeting through the e-voting system provided by NSDL. Members can click on e-voting icon on the screen to avail this feature, which will redirect them to the separate window to the e-voting portal of NSDL. As stated in the notice convening this AGM, since this AGM is being held virtually, the facility for appointment of proxies by the members was not available, and members attending this AGM through audiovisual means shall be counted for the purpose of reckoning the quorum under 103 of the Companies Act 2013. We have 51 members attending this AGM through audiovisual means. The requisite quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. This meeting being conducted through audiovisual means also complies with Regulation 44(6) of SEBI listing regulations. The Register of Directors and Key Managerial Personnel and their shareholding, the Register of Contracts or Arrangements in which directors are interested, and the certificate from statutory auditors on stock option schemes of the company, and other documents have been made available for inspection in electronic mode to members, if any, who have sent a request for inspection. In case any member during the AGM wishes to inspect the same, they are requested to kindly write to the company by sending an email to shares@drreddys.com, and the documents can be inspected by them electronically. Now we commence the proceedings of this meeting. The annual report for FY 2021 comprising the notice of the AGM, standalone and consolidated audited financial statements for the financial year 2021 and auditor's report thereon, along with the board's report, has been sent through electronic mode to all the members who have registered their email addresses with the company or their depository participants. Consequently, I will take the notice convening the meeting and the auditor's report on both the standalone and consolidated financial statements as read. I would like to mention that there were no qualifications, observations, and adverse remarks or comments mentioned in the statutory auditor's report or secretarial auditor's report. May I now request our chairman, Mr. Satish Reddy, to address the members.
Thank you, Sandeep. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, again. The financial year 2021 was a very difficult year for all of us. When we met this time last year, it was our first ever completely virtual AGM, and now for the second time, we meet virtually. The second COVID wave in India has been devastating, and most of us are coping with the loss of a family member, a friend, or a loved one. It is your continued support in these trying times that allowed us to do our best for our employees and our patients alike. I would also like to acknowledge the management and the employees of Dr. Reddy's across the world, and also our partners, customers, and collaborators for their contributions. Our credo of good health can't wait. It guided our priorities, ensuring the supply of medicines to patients and promoting the health and safety of our employees. I hope you have all received the copy of the company's annual report on 2020-21 under the theme of For Health, for Life, Connecting Science, Technology, and Innovation. This year's annual report includes a snapshot of our financial performance for FY21, the management commentary on our business performance and outlook, as well as the statutory reports. We've also offered a glimpse of the various ways your company has responded to the challenges posed by the pandemic through our COVID portfolio, through our initiatives to help employees, through our communities, our partners, our collaborators, and our customers, and also by adapting our business operations to ensure the continuous supply of medicines. Some highlights from the annual report, just to name a couple of them. We made significant efforts to increase productivity and ramp up our digital transformation agenda. And of late, there's been a lot of focus on the ESG aspects of companies, the environmental, social, and governance aspects. And I'm happy to inform you that Dr. Reddy's has been ranked number one. It's been ranked number one in pharma in the CRISIL's ESG ratings and ranked among the top 10 in India across the various sectors. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the leadership team of Dr. Reddy's, led by our CEO, Erez, and also members of the Dr. Reddy's family around the world for the encouraging performance right through the pandemic. So reflecting back on the priorities and approach during the COVID times over the last year and a half, based on our learnings from the first wave, we set 3 priorities for ourselves. They were important then, and they're also important now. One is to ensure the safety of our employees and their families. The second, to meet commitments to our patients and partners worldwide. And the third, to develop medicines to fight COVID. To deliver on these priorities, we invested heavily in workplace safety, and our successive business continuity plans have helped ensure a safe and productive working environment. A range of employee benefits and facilities helped colleagues physically, financially, and psychologically right through the pandemic. As far as our COVID portfolio is concerned, Prasad will be taking us through it in more detail. I only wanted to mention that in addition to the various COVID product launches and also ramping up of the production of essential therapeutics, your company will continue to explore innovative therapeutics for COVID and associated complications in preparation for any future waves. Also, as part of the COVID relief efforts, Dr. Reddy's has committed a sum of rupees 50 crore rupees towards the COVID-19 India Relief Fund, which it will carry out various initiatives. To briefly talk about the pharma industry, the overall Indian pharmaceutical industry's response during the COVID times. The COVID situation in the first half of 2021 was grim indeed. At Dr. Reddy's, we lost 22 of our colleagues to COVID, and quite a large number of our staff were infected. And we have made every effort to extend support to the bereaved families and we will continue to do so. The pandemic brought home the impact of lives that the pharmaceutical sector, the government, and the healthcare providers can make in collaboration with each other. In fact, the collaborative approach between the government and the pharmaceutical industry was truly exemplary, and the agility with which we could identify solutions to the problems on how we put together relevant SOPs, it was unprecedented. There were control rooms, for example, which were set up by the Department of Pharmaceuticals to streamline, to clarify, and implement government notifications on the ground. There was coordination with the central state governments to resolve the disruptions on the ground, and we worked in tandem, the industry worked in tandem with the authorities to develop safety protocols for our workplaces. And in addition to addressing the COVID situation, the government also embarked on launching critical policies and made the right interventions to give an impetus to the R&D as well as the pharma manufacturing in the country. Just to name a couple of them, the PLI scheme, the government launched the much-awaited production-linked incentive scheme to provide an impetus to domestic manufacturing of pharmaceuticals, biopharmaceuticals, APIs, KSMs, excipients, and some other critical drugs. And under this scheme, the government announced a total incentive outlay of 15,000 crore rupees to be paid to the participants over a 6-year period. The second is the R&D committee, which was very much focused on innovation. The government had constituted an R&D committee comprising of leaders from the industry, from academia, and also the policymakers to generate ideas to boost R&D in the country. The R&D committee made almost about 25 recommendations across the key building blocks of regulatory processes, of R&D funding, industry-academia collaborations, R&D policy and infrastructure, and these are now in the process of being implemented by the government. Despite all these positive things that have happened, a lot could have gone better in the past year. We as a country were probably too quick to declare victory over COVID, and the second wave, in a sense, caught us unawares. From some kind of laxity in following the COVID norms to dismantling the infrastructure that was built for the COVID wave, for the COVID patients in the first wave, and also by not planning ahead in creating stockpiles of essential medicines, there is much to learn. There is much to learn from the months leading up to the second wave. However, I think once the situation became clear, the turnaround was quite impressive. In a very short span of time, India has put into effect the vaccination drive, and a good amount of work has been done at several levels, and the authorities have played their part in expediting approval processes to ensure wider access for essential medicines. In fact, it is due to the emergency usage approval process that was set in motion during the pandemic. It helped fast-track development of several COVID therapeutics and also vaccines and made them available across the country. A few potential solutions that I feel we must continue to work on in partnership with the government. Number one, the government and pharma companies must collectively build a stockpile of essential drugs for COVID as well as other diseases that we can tap to when it comes to the time of need. An effort was already underway on this in the case of remdesivir, for example, in the month of May, and it is needed for other products also. Second, a funding mechanism needs to be in place by the government, which will enable the companies to take the risk and give a thrust to the R&D and also inventory building for such essential COVID drugs in emergency situations. Third, in the future, more capabilities needs to be built in enabling a higher level of expertise in review of the new product as well as the drug approvals. And fourth, sustained CSR efforts by the industry in partnership with the government to contribute towards developing primary healthcare in underserved areas. And there's a lot to learn from every new situation, and we as a country have learned on the job. The pharmaceutical sector has truly risen to the challenge, and it is poised with the support of other stakeholders to do even more. So lastly, on the CSR activities carried out by your company, on COVID relief, as I mentioned before, we played an active role to support communities in India as well as in all the countries where we operate in to provide relief during the pandemic times, and Prasad will talk more about it. On education activities, despite the various challenges posed by the pandemic and the lockdowns, we leveraged the digital capabilities to ensure continuity in learning in all our flagship education programs that we carry out through the Dr.Reddy's Foundation, whether it was the schools, the vocational college, or the school improvement programs in partnership with the government. a lot of activities were carried out digitally. In addition, we renewed our partnership with Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan of Andhra Pradesh state, which will benefit 21,000 students in the tribal areas. We awarded the Dr.Reddy Scholarship for meritorious students to 320 students, of which 60% were girls. We organized interventions to support adolescent girls' health that benefited more than 8,000 girls at various schools. Also at the Dr. Reddy's Foundation, we introduced online training to transform our flagship skilling program, which is called GROW, into a new model of delivery, which is called GROW Digital. GROW Digital offers similar training modules and impact in terms of skill shifts and placements, but in a more contemporary mode that is suited to the workplace for the future. Similarly, GROW for the specially abled also transition into a digital program. Our flagship livelihoods program called Mitra, it also created a significant impact in the last year, touching the lives of 30,000 plus farmers. These interventions resulted in almost 20% increase in the yield of paddy crop, for example, a 15% decrease in the cost of cultivation, and a 20% increase in the income. Almost 1,000 plus farmers were benefited through this approach. Also, Spirit of Giving, which is a volunteer program which is carried out in the company to commemorate our founder, Dr. Reddy's passing every year. In this program, more than 400 volunteers from across the company were engaged in the Spirit of Giving activities in the financial year 21. We introduced a virtual volunteering platform that enabled more employees across the company to participate in various activities such as podcast recording, online mentoring, to name a few. And we conducted a plasma donation drive where 120 employees contributed to build our own dynamic repository of potential donors. Also, Project Fever was carried out, which was in partnership with the Indian Institute of Public Health in Hyderabad to launch something which is a community-driven program to enhance the awareness on dengue fever. And about 80 to 100 employees have contributed to this over the financial year. Also, in our US office, over 30 volunteers engaged in activities such as food distribution and disaster relief over the course of the year. So in conclusion, the late founder, Dr. Reddy's words are echoed in this year's annual report theme: for health, for life, connecting science, technology, and innovation. Innovative, effective, and quick solutions were the need for the past year and a half. We will need more of them in the near future if we are to stay ahead of the curve and defeat the pandemic. I wish to reiterate that your company is committed to doing everything it can to contribute to this fight. Once again, I would like to thank all of you, our shareholders, our partners, customers, employees, collaborators, and the medical professionals for your faith in the company and all of us. I would also like to thank our board of directors who are present on this call today. And please stay safe and stay well. Thank you very much. I just want to read out the statutory disclaimer. In view of the continuing COVID-19 pandemic, for maintaining social distancing norms, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and SEBI has issued circulars permitting companies to hold the AGMs virtually. Hence, the 37th annual general meeting of your company is being held through audiovisual means in compliance with the aforesaid circulars. All feasible efforts have been made by the company to enable its members to participate and vote during the AGM. The company has engaged the services of NSDL to facilitate this AGM, and pursuant to the secretarial standards, please note that as per the AGM notice dated May 24, 2021, the resolution numbers 1 to 4 are mandatorily required to be passed at the AGM under section 102(2) of the Companies Act 2013, and resolution number 5 is a special business considered as important and unavoidable by the board and hence are proposed at this AGM. I am pleased to bring to your notice that as required under the Companies Act 2013, rules thereunder and SEBI listing regulations, the company has provided to all the members the facility to cast their vote electronically on all the resolutions set forth in this notice. Members who have not yet cast their votes electronically and who are present at this meeting have an opportunity to cast their votes during the meeting through the e-voting system provided by NSDL. Members can click on e-voting icon on the video conference screen to avail of this feature. The company has appointed Mr. G. Raghubabu, practicing company secretary, as scrutinizer for the remoting e-voting process and e-voting during the AGM. On behalf of the board, Sandeep Poddar, the company secretary, is authorized to receive the scrutinizer's report and to announce the results of the voting thereof. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Chairman. May I request our co-chairman and managing director, Mr. Prasad, to address the members?
Good morning and welcome to your company's 37th AGM. I would like to start by echoing Satish's sentiments on the lives we lost to COVID this year and reaffirm our commitment to support the bereaved families. It's been another difficult year in terms of coping with the pandemic and learning to live with its challenges. At the same time, the pandemic has also seen us in unprecedented collaborative efforts and advances to find solutions. Throughout this period, as Satish mentioned, our twin priorities have been and continue to be to ensure the supply of critically needed medicines to patients around the world and the health and safety of our employees in this process. We have also done our best to bring COVID solutions for patients through collaborations, innovation, and our own development efforts. I'll talk a little more about this later in my address. First, I'd like to begin with a few remarks on the performance of the company in FY21. I'm pleased to report that the fiscal 21 was a year of significantly improved performance for your company with a growth of 57% in profit before tax. The EBITDA margin improved by 33% over FY20 before impairment, and ROC for the year FY21 was 23% before impairment. Despite the numerous hardships presented by the pandemic, we did well, recording our highest revenue figures till date. We had about 273 different product launches globally, finalized some key partnerships around the world, and greatly improved our productivity. The year also saw some good progress on the oncology discovery pipeline at Origin, the nutraceuticals business in India, and the launch of our digital health solution pilot called SWAS yesterday. Over the year, we restructured our proprietary process products business in USA and successfully integrated the Wokhart portfolio into our India business. It was a good year, and the dividend recommended by the board is 25% per equity share, subject to deduction of applicable taxes. Beyond the company's performance at an industry level, we are aware that COVID-19 has led to some very important and permanent changes in how we work. The ability to accelerate innovation in all forms was one of this, and it has led to some very tangible results in cures as well as vaccines. The impact of supply chain agility, automation, and deeper digital collaboration is already being felt across the industry. At the people level, Satish discussed in detail the health and safety of our employees and how important it is to us. And we have spared no effort towards this right through the pandemic. From protection, distancing measures, a safe workplace, and to comprehensive multi-pronged support to employees and their families were some of the measures we did, and we'll continue to do this. We have also announced a series of measures in terms of the bereaved families. They will continue to receive fixed salaries and medical insurance coverage for 2 years for their families, as well as support for the education of up to 2 children till they graduate. In every location, we are offering our support to colleagues and their families in different ways. Throughout the pandemic, communities across the world that had been impacted by COVID-19, from food and rations to hospital infrastructure, free medicines, we swung into action very quickly and touched many charitable hospitals and communities across India, with particular focus on the vulnerable populations. The urgent need for COVID therapeutics drove us to push boundaries. We worked on repurposing drugs, entered into collaborations with leading firms across the world to bring some of the most effective drugs to India. At the same time, we instituted innovative ways to maintain and enhance effectiveness of work, from simple things like tools for remote working to virtual audits, as well as covering the doctor visits through our in-house IT tools. And all of our across the world were operational throughout the lockdowns, thanks in large part to the stupendous effort of our workers and workforce. In addition to the collective effort, our teams were able to bring some of the most effective COVID therapeutics to India via partnerships with Gilead Life Sciences for Remdesivir, Fujifilm for Favipiravir, Merck Sharp and Dohme for Molnupiravir, and Eli Lilly for Baricitinib, and of course our work with DRDO to bring a novel drug to the market, 2-deoxyglucose. When the second wave of COVID hit India in April and demand began to outstrip supply, we immediately took measures to enhance capacities of these drugs. We ramped up production of Redix from 100,000 doses per month to 600,000 doses per month, and also cut its price by 50%. The newly approved Redix L is also available now alongside with the lyophilized version of the product. We collaborated with our long-term partners, the Defense Research and Development Organization, to conduct clinical development on the oral antiviral drug 2-deoxyglucose. And we launched this drug in June. Last month, we announced a collaboration between 5 leading pharmaceutical companies in India to conduct the phase 3 clinical trial for a promising new antiviral Molnupiravir. Your company is leading the clinical trial of this group, and this is the first of its kind collaboration in the Indian industry, and it is a testimony to see how the collaboration, how the pharma industry has been working together to find solutions in the most efficient way possible. And your company has launched therapies across the spectrum from mild to moderate and severe conditions of the disease, and of course, the vaccine. In the current situation of the pandemic, the most significant contribution that we thought we could bring into the Indian market was the collaboration with the Russian Direct Investment Fund in 2020 for clinical trial and distribution of 125 million people doses of the Sputnik V vaccine in India. We initiated a launch of this product in May across the country. And in July, we scaled up our commercial rollout to reach cities and towns all over India in partnership with major hospital chains. As you are aware, Sputnik V requires a minus 18 degree centigrade storage, and this presents some unique distribution challenges. I am pleased to see that our teams have done a great job of ensuring cold storage logistical arrangement at all our partner sites. Supply constraints have, of course, limited our ability to make larger quantities of the vaccine available in India, and we are working on ensuring that we get some supplies very soon so that we can continue the rollout. Meanwhile, the commencement of manufacturing in India and the ease of supplies should see greater momentum of this rollout. To be able to contribute to India's massive national inoculation effort is a matter of pride, as well as a great responsibility, and one that helps us truly live our purpose. Beyond the COVID portfolio, we have clearly identified the markets, the geographies, and businesses to build our leadership position in 4 areas, in our focus areas. North America, emerging markets, India, and the PSAI business continue to be our focus areas, while we look at additional growth options. To achieve our strategic objectives, you are aware that we are working on 3 major themes: leadership in the chosen spaces, operational excellence and continuous improvement, and patient-centric product innovation. And we saw good progress on all the three themes. We have seen improvement in our market ranks and market share in the important markets of North America, Europe, as well. The restructuring of our proprietary products business and successful integration of the Wockhardt portfolio were executed to conserve resources and allocate the capital efficiently. We saw a reduction in operating expenses, and a lowering of manpower costs, which showed an improvement of almost 30 BPS over FY21. We made significant strides by combining digital, data, and design, and this has yielded significant productivity improvements across manufacturing, development, as well as reaching the market. The unprecedented impact and urgency of COVID-19 drove us to focus our energies in finding solutions to the pandemic. While I already discussed details of this, the REAP-2DG as a COVID therapeutic drug and our partnership with RDIF are 2 examples of how your company has extended itself to explore every possible opportunity to find solutions in the hour of need. We have also seen very significant progress on the development of our novel oncology pipeline with Origin, and we should see further announcements in this regard. We are exploring opportunities to expand our presence in biologics, oncology, vaccines, each of which could be a significant opportunity in the future. Digital therapeutics is another area through which I believe we can serve patients well. And yesterday we announced the pilot launch of SWAS, meaning breath. SWAS is our integrated digital initiative to bring together 4 key touchpoints in the journey of outpatient healthcare: diagnostic laboratories, pharmacies, and insurance, all on a mobile platform, with the aim of offering a one-stop, cashless, and seamless user experience across all channels. At present, SWAS is in pilot phase, and for this we have partnered with ICICI Lombard. Using the learnings and takeaways from this phase, we will scale up and deepen our efforts in healthcare and wellness across the country. The extended fallout of the pandemic has severely impacted lives and livelihoods around the world. Never before has our purpose of accelerating access to innovation and affordable medicine around the patients around the world has been more relevant. And never before has our credo of good health can't wait seen more urgency. We have carried this sense of urgency into FY22, and our business continuity plan guides our actions and gives us resilience to meet the challenges of the pandemic with a determination and assurance. The responsibility we have taken on, that is to make a difference to millions of patients around the world, is at once challenging as well as humbling. Once again, I wish to acknowledge and thank all my colleagues around the world who are at the front lines of this battle for the passion and commitment they bring to work every day. We know that the battle is not over, and we will continue to do our best as part of the national and global effort against the pandemic, and of course to serve our patients and stakeholders. I wish to again thank all our partners, suppliers, customers, healthcare professionals, and regulatory authorities for their support and partnerships in the past year. My gratitude also to the board for their guidance and counsel. And finally, I'd like to thank you, our shareholders, for your support and trust in Dr. Reddy's. Wish you all safety, good health and safety, and please take good care of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. I would like to inform the members that the text of resolutions and the explanatory statement, wherever applicable, have been provided in the notice convening this AGM and has been circulated to the members and also available on the website of the company. I would also like to inform that item number 3 of the notice pertains to Mr. G.V. Prasad's reappointment, who retires by rotation and being eligible seeks reappointment. Mr. Satish Reddy and Mr. G.V. Prasad are interested in this resolution. Hence, in accordance with the Companies Act 2013 and Secretarial Standard SS2, the board has recommended that Mr. Prasad Menon, Lead Independent Director, to chair this item of the notice. Mr. Menon.
Good morning, everyone. Based on the recommendation of the Nomination, Governance and Compensation Committee, the Board of Directors of the company have considered the item number 3 pertaining to reappointment of Mr. G.V. Prasad, who retires by rotation and seeks reappointment. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the company, I recommend this resolution for approval of the members.
Thank you, Mr. Menon. As members know, the remote e-voting facility was open from Saturday, July 24, 2021, 9 a.m. IST to Tuesday, July 27, 2021, 5 p.m. IST. The members who have not participated in the remote e-voting and are present at this meeting have an opportunity to cast their votes during the meeting through the e-voting system provided by NSDL. The consolidated results of remote e-voting and e-voting during the AGM would be available on the company's and NSDL website and submitted to the stock exchanges within prescribed time. I now invite the members who have pre-registered as speaker shareholders to ask their questions. Members are requested to clearly state their names, folio number or DP ID and client ID, and location from where they are participating for record purpose. Members are requested to keep their questions brief and avoid repetitions. In the interest of time, may I request members to kindly restrict their questions or comments to 3 minutes, please. I now request the moderator to unmute the first speaker shareholder.
Thank you. I now invite Mr. Manoj Kumar Gupta to unmute your audio and video and ask question or give comments. Please proceed.
Hello, good morning, respected Chairman, Board of Directors, fellow shareholders. My name is Manoj Kumar Gupta. I am shareholder of Dr.Reddy Laboratories from last 28 years, and I have joined this meeting from Calcutta. So first of all, I like to congratulate our Chairman in this team for the excellent result for 2021. And sir, I thanks to our company secretary and his team that who has helped us to join this meeting through VC. And I pay my respect to Mrs. Kalpana Morporia and Sika Sharma. After a long time, I'm looking them in our board because I know them from the ICICI time. And Mrs. Morporia and Mrs. Sika Sharma has left us between and they have joined other groups. So I respect them. And sir, I will not say a single word on CSR. And I am very sorry to hear in your opening remarks that we have lost our 22 pupils in this epidemic. And I also pay my tribute to them and please convey our sentiment to their families. And several pupils as affected, you have informed in your opening remarks. Sir, your dividend, I agree with your dividend policy that you have paid the dividend of 25 rupees. Sir, unclaimed dividend. Before send this dividend to the central government, send a notice to the central government that they can collect their, send a notice to the investors that they can collect their dividend from the company. Or you can do that, you can put their name on your website that they can claim whenever they open your website. If they get their name, then they can claim from the company. Otherwise, after, now the law has changed, you have to transfer their holding also to the central. And sir, COVID vaccine, I salute you and your team to bring the Sputnik because now the young generation like the Sputnik. I also runs to charitable hospital in Calcutta and we got the Covishield from the government to serve the people, to infuse the pupils Covishield. But pupils are coming about the Sputnik. Whenever we approach the government to get, no, Bengal government says that we have got only for the charitable and the government hospital only Covishield. So when the Sputnik will be available in the market, that people can, because people have faith on the Sputnik, that Sputnik is more effective and more working in this COVID. So I think that you will spread the wings of Sputnik in coming time to save the pupils from this epidemic COVID-19. And I thanks to you, your team, to bring this very valuable product in the country from Russia. And sir, what is your future outlook for pharma business? 2 days back, I was reading a news clip in the papers that pharma business will grow by 30 times in the country in next 5 years. So what will be our position in that period? If the pharma business will go up to 30 times in next 5 years. And sir, have you any plan to split the shares? Because now our market cap is near about 90,000 crore rupees. And share price is near about 5,000 rupees. Today's share price has slipped due to some our profit has gone down by 36% in the first quarter. So that price has gone down about 4,700 rupees. But have you any plan to split the shares to increase more liquidity in the market or to attract the small investors? And so how you will face a competition from generic medicines? Now, whenever we go to government hospitals, if there is a sasta Shulabh shop is there for medicine, we will find that generic medicines. Government do not believe into give the allopathic medicine. Government want to give the generic medicines. 67% discount, 70% discounts. So how you face that scenario? In Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Bengal, even that in Bengal, if you go to government hospital, government is giving 67% less on medicines, on the generic medicines. Sir, have you any plan to acquire a new project in coming time? Or you can launch some new plants in eastern part of the country or northeast. Northeast is also growing after become the NDA government in these states of northeast. So you can get a new plant in these areas, sir? And sir, how much your export and what's the status on export during the epidemic COVID? And sir, why are you not launching the immunity booster products? Immunity booster. In the COVID, people have lost their immunity. So companies should launch some immunity booster products. And just now our MD and co-chairman says that you have launched some pilot project of SWAS. When the SWAS will launch by Rational, so will you also offer the shareholders also, inform the shareholders on their mail that they can also be part of the SWAS under the Dr.Reddy. And so try to launch some vaccine from newborn baby to 5-year-old baby. All vaccines from newborn baby to 5-year-old baby. And sir, India is the world capital of diabetes, kidney, heart, liver and cancer. How you will serve them on a minimized price? Because middle class are suffering from these 5 diseases. So how you will survive them? Because these 5 disease treatment cost is very high. So will you launch some subsidized medicines in these 5 sectors? And sir, yesterday there was a news on the money control that view on the complaint by healthcare workers of Ukraine under the USA anti-corruption laws. So what is your view on that, sir? In the money control, there was a news and you have also started an investigation of that matter. So what is your view on that report? Last but least, I thanks to you, your team for good result, and I thanks to our company secretary. He knows me from last 22 years. So I thanks you. After a long time, I am joining your meeting. I've attended one physical meeting in 1998 when I was in Hyderabad. After a long time, I've joined. I thanks to your secretarial department that will help us. And once again, I request Dr. Reddy to please come to this side for some investment to attract the peoples of Eastern region. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj Gupta ji. There are a lot of questions. I'll just try to at least address some part of it. I'll also request my colleagues to add on to it additionally if I miss something in this. So starting with the vaccine itself, Sputnik, right? So the issue is we had in fact launched it, done the pilot across 80 cities across the country. And in terms of supply, while we have the first dose of the component which we received earlier, the second dose is taking time in terms of supply coming in from Russia. So we're still in the process of doing it. At this point of time, probably about close to 25,000 plus people have been vaccinated by Dr. Reddy's. The reason why you don't find it on the CoWIN portal is that, it's like only when the commercial quantities come in large numbers, we will be able to open it up. That's one of the reasons why we do it. Hopefully we should be able to resolve the supply situation soon, and then we should be able to provide this. As far as the outlook for pharmaceutical business is concerned, the one that you talked about, was my statement which I gave during the convocation of one of the pharmaceutical educational institutions called NIPER during that time. This was in fact the vision of the Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance, of which I'm also the chair of that. This is mainly to say that the potential for growth, for the pharmaceutical industry from the current stage, $42 billion, there's a potential to grow at least 12% compounded for the next 10 years to take it to $130 billion. So that was the context of that. So that's the potential we are talking about. So as far as an aspiration for a company like ours happens in that, we are there in several segments of that growth. Whether it's the APIs, whether it's the generic medicines. India is a big market for us. Also biosimilars, proprietary products, also in the innovation part. So there are several areas and several spaces for growth for Dr. Reddy's. And since I can't talk about a specific number because we don't give guidance, it's reasonable to say that, it's a very good situation that we are in the leadership that we want to gain in the chosen spaces. That's on the outlook for the pharmaceutical business. We also talked about generic medicines in India. Of course, the Jan Aushadhi program, which the government launched, was with an intention to also provide, the affordable medicines to the poorer sections of the society. That was a stated objective, and the government took it upon itself to also make sure that, these are available at stores across the country, at a much lower price. 67% of the prices is what you have said. So that's what they've done. So again, the view is, it's like if you see access is important. India is a large country, especially in terms of the reach to mostly the tier 2 and tier 3 cities and villages. There's a lot more that needs to be done. There's also the issue of, affordability. So the government in its wisdom has taken that step to do it. But that's one part of it, which is mainly going through a different channel. Companies, the leading companies are not part of it because of the system of procurement which the government does at this point of time. So the way I can put it is, it's like saying it is good for the country, but in terms of participation, the existing procedure doesn't allow that. So that's why we are not as part of that. In terms of facilities, we are mainly concentrated in 3 locations in Hyderabad, in Vizag, as well as in Baddi in Himachal Pradesh. At the present point of time, we have no plans to expand into any other new location because there are already capacity that have been built in. They still have to be utilized. And but should there be a reasonable opportunity, we definitely will look at it in the future. You also asked about immunity boosters. You'll be happy to know that we have launched an immunity booster recently called Cure Health, which already is in the market. And on the pediatric vaccines, the trial design for Sputnik is also in the process of being put together. And once it goes through the clinical trials, it will also be in the pipeline for that. Right. So as far as your other medicines that you talked about, diabetes and everything else, I think we are pretty much there in all the medicines that you talked about. It's always been the purpose of the company to provide access to affordable medicine. So we are always there for that. So if I missed out anything, I think it is. Do you want to cover? I think there are a couple of questions he asked on Ukraine and maybe also about the outlook for the business overall for the next few years.
Yeah, as for the outlook, we will continue to grow. So we have a growth strategy and planning for leadership in those respective spaces. We are investing heavily into R&D, into new products, into products that will be differentiated. The primary goal will be in India, emerging market, as well as in the US and Europe. And you can absolutely see us growing in that respect. As related to Ukraine, it's something that we shared in November, as well as in the activities that we are as part of the process that we need to do as part of being traded in the United States, needs to be in compliance with the laws and regulation in the United States. And what you see is part of the process. I do not see any immediate actions as of yet.
On the reminders to claim a dividend, we would like to say that periodical reminders are being sent to the shareholders to claim their unclaimed dividend, and also at the time when the shares are due to be transferred to the IPF during such unclaimed dividend. May I request the moderator to move to the second shareholder, please?
Thank you. I now invite Ms. Celestine Elizabeth Mascarenhas to unmute audio and video and proceed with your question, please.
Respected Chairman, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much. Respected Chairman, Mr. K. Satish Reddy, Co-Chairman G.V. Prasad, MD Eric Israeli, other very, very honorable directors, I can see all of them. My shareholders attending the virtual. My name is Mrs. Celestine Elizabeth Mascarenhas. I am speaking from Mumbai. My number is 120-514-5x090218. Now, first of all, I thank the company secretary, Mr. Sandeep Podar, and his team for sending me an annual report. But I would have definitely preferred a physical copy as my eyes water due to age. Anyway, thanks for registering me my application for speaker, and also I thank the chorus team. Now I come to the annual report, though working not that well, obviously because of COVID disruption and lockdowns. Our PAT, PBT slide down, but I am very happy you all have given a dividend of ₹25 on a face value of 5, which shows the management's care for us. And also market cap is very good, except yesterday, because after the results and guidance was not so exciting, the market cap came down. And with this, all the pharma companies also came down, because everybody, it was flying high. Suddenly it has little touched. But I know very well that you all are, our team here is very tough. And they say that tough times don't last, but the tough people last forever. And this is my observation, because I know this company from many years. I am talking first time because I was not able to come to Hyderabad. This virtual has given me a platform to express myself. Sir, I also endorse the view of the earlier shareholder, Mr. Gupta ji, that making our share affordable to a small investor by splitting and also increasing the liquidity. So we may get some big, deep-pocketed investor in our company, and that will create more and more valuation for our company. These are my thinkings. The board is a very intelligent board. They may have a different thinking. Now my query, sir, our total number of employees are 22,739 and temporary 1,201. You told me how many COVID deaths. I would like to know how many of them, means percentage you can tell, were affected by COVID 1 and 2. Is vaccination, both the vaccination is done for the employees. Of course, by working at home, I think the expenses has somewhat come down, Now we had a collaboration, we have with Russia to supply 100 million doses of vaccine to us, and we have done also clinical trials through BIRAC. The efficiency of Sputnik was reported as 91.6%. So I would like to know, there are 6 manufacturing companies whom you have. Could you know what is the name of those 6 pharma companies? We are the 3rd pharma company to supply the COVID-19 vaccine. Also, I want to get some light whether 1 and 2 have 2 vaccines, and is there requirement for a booster vaccine in future? Because I feel the COVID is there to stay. It won't be that fast. Maybe 3-4 years it will go on till it completely disappears. Now, my third question is, the 2DG has been developed by our DRDO lab in collaboration with Dr.Reddy. It has received emergency use approval. Hospitals moderate to severe COVID patients. So I would like to know how many patients it has administered so far and how many are cured. Also throw some light on Molnupiravir and Voricitinib. I cannot pronounce. Please excuse me for my pronunciation. What is the efficacy level and how are they priced? Number 4, we have launched 273 products. What is the market share? And all of them, are they affordable? Because yesterday's that report was they are priced high. So I would like you to share with me, will you bring down the price or something? Because that was the report yesterday I heard. Number 5, any acquisition for inorganic growth? Next one is promoter shareholding is 26.76 or 75, and foreign holding is as high as 29 plus percent. So I feel promoters should increase, because if tomorrow something adverse is heard and the foreign just dumps and goes, we Indian shareholders will have somewhat hard feelings, So I think you all should try to increase this share. Now, next one is, any provision made for Subpiona, and what is the status of that? 6, throw some light on Sputnik Light. the future roadmap and the capex for the next 3 years, and any acquisition in the by way of inorganic growth. Now my queries are over. I congratulate you, the entire team, for all the awards and accolades received in spite of the COVID and lockdowns. I will not do justice if I do not appreciate the CSR work done to the community already given in the report. I want to be brief. I would have a little expanded, but time is the constraint. I support all the resolutions. I like the slogan for health for life, good health, and we are future ready with virtual reality. Special congratulations for launching yesterday pilot project Swast. I wish you and the entire Dr. Reddy's team good health and be safe and grow from strength to strength. Thank you so much. And I also bring the greetings from my Bombay shareholders, especially Mr. Rangwala. He has given great appreciation and praying for our company. With this, I end my thoughts and my aspirations for this company. Thank you very much for giving me this patient hearing. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Mrs. Mascarenas. Great to know that you have joined for the first time our annual general meeting. That's the advantage of a virtual meeting, that it's like people who find it difficult to travel and come all the way to Hyderabad, at least they're able to join through this virtual platform. So again, thank you for all the questions. There are several of them. I will again probably lean on Erez to elaborate in detail, but just on one or two things that you asked in the beginning. In terms of infections that I talked about, if you look at both the first and the second, it is almost about 6,500 or so people who got infected across the company. In the first wave, it was about 2,500 or so, and then it was about 3,800 in the second wave. But again, like I said, there's a lot of steps which the company had taken, a lot of people within the company who have volunteered. We made arrangements to ensure the safety of our employees, and we are fortunate that 99.6% or so, they've all recovered, and and then back to the work. So that's something I wanted to express appreciation to all my colleagues who volunteered to take care of our staff across the company. In terms of Sputnik, you had asked about the 6 other companies. It's public knowledge again, but I'll just tell you there's Hetero Drugs in terms of the manufacturers. There's Virtual Labs. There is Stellis Pharmaceuticals, which is part of the Strides group. There is Gland Pharma. There is also Shilpa Medicare, and there is Paniscia Biotech. So these are the companies, which are the manufacturers of Sputnik. And I think there were a few more questions, on the promoters holdings, because this pertains to both me and Prasad. Just wanted to also let you know that we have raised our shareholding. It was, below 26% at some point of time. So we had increased our shareholding, in the previous years. So that's something I just wanted to let you know. So Erez, over to you on, I think there were questions on Sputnik Light, and also about, the 2DG and molnupiravir and baricitinib.
Yes, so on Sputnik Light, this is the first dose of Sputnik. So as you know, Sputnik V has 2 formulations. We call it A and B, which in other languages 26 and 5. So Sputnik Light is the 26, and right now it's in trials in Russia for in phase 3 as well as for adolescents. And once we will have those results, we will submit them and try to get approval before that at the PLC. We are very excited about 2DG. I think that the drug was launched recently by us with the MRP price of 990 per sachet. But we are offering also a subsidized rate for the government institutions. I believe that all the products that we are planning are affordable, and affordability and accessibility for the people, especially in India, is very, very important for us, and we'll continue to do it for all of our products. Also moving forward, let's stay committed to the tradition and for the visions and mission statements that we have all the time about affordability and accessibility. Also, the other products that were launched are available to market, meaning favipiravir as well as the remdesivirs when applicable. About the molnupiravir, we are now in the trials with the rest of the companies in order to bring it to the marketplace. About the subpoena, like I mentioned to the previous shareholder, this is a process under investigation, so the status is that we are under investigations. Once the investigation will be done, we'll submit it to the relevant authorities and move in according to the process. At this stage, I don't see any immediate actions needed.
Can we have the next shareholder, please?
Sure. I now invite Dr. Arun Bopanna to unmute audio and video and proceed with your question, please.
Good morning to everybody. Thanks to Sudipta. I miss Bharatbhai Doshi on the board, but thrilled to know Dr. Usha Iyer joined Dr. Reddy's in corporate communications. The little one grew up in front of me. At 70 plus, I'm Santa Claus to all these kids in Mumbai, sir. So happy to see her and so happy for Reddy's. And tributes to a remarkable man, we had serious questions. I would like to lighten up. Tributes to a remarkable man, his prime purpose was to create, his intentions were to serve, were so pure, he was committed to his decisions, he stayed flexible in his approach, his hallmark, get the right things done. He is our founder chairman, Dr. Anji Reddy. Salute to him. Today, with the illustrious promoter, Dr. Reddy is a trusted name in the pharma for effective manufacturing process. Dr. Reddy has gained global market and it's a beacon of hope in COVID. And my questions, with increasing raw material cost, how will you manage the price hike and the margins? How much did you adopt to digital world? How much did you invest in automation? And what is the capex during the pandemic? World population is expected to be 10 billion by 2050. We will need new innovations. And what is Dr. Reddy's budget? Are you into transdermal medication, the novel therapy for palliative therapy in cancer, Alzheimer's, etc.? Transdermal patches. US holds top spot in innovation. China is to continue dominance in raw material. Will Dr. Reddy change this narrative and help India reduce import dependence in favor of products in India? Can we ask for issue of rights, any rights issue in the offing? COVID-19, the impact, what is the impact on the labor law and Dr. Reddy's impact on cash flow? Research has shown a positive correlation between granted patents and financial performance. What is the future forecast for 5 years? And sir, there is a seismic shift in clean energy pursuit to go net carbon zero ahead of the targets set by energy majors across the world. We have an obligation to live in harmony with nature. We must change the narrative of recycling and reuse. What are Dr. Reddy's plans? In conclusion, I think my friends Dr. Prasad Menon and Shikha Sharma will support me, and the ever-smiling Sridhar and Leo, they've been smiling all the way. They will also support me in my sentiments. Glad to know Dr. Reddy's work and serve with perspiration, and I'm more glad that the owners, Satish Garu and Prasad Garu, have no political aspirations. I wish you all the best, Prasad Garu and Satish Garu. Bye-bye to all my friends there in Hyderabad. Thank you very much. And all the best to Dr. Usha Iyer too with Dr. Reddy's. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bopanna, for actually lightening up everything now. In fact, thank you also for the tributes that you paid to our founder, Dr. Reddy. And I'll probably just answer the part on China and then I'll hand it over to Prasad, because especially on the sustainability that you asked questions on, he's been leading the effort within the company and he's extremely passionate about it. Maybe he'll say a few words about it. Just on the China part of it, when you said, it's like, are we contributing to lessening the import dependency of APIs and KSMs? This again is for the entire industry, right? Because of what the pandemic exposed, The issue was, especially in front of the government to say that, we were so dependent on China. Is there a way to reduce the importer dependence? But I think we have to also be realistic about, where we stand on this, because the capacities, and the pricing which the Chinese companies have built over a period of time, it is not something that is easy to displace. Right. So, but there are also obviously opportunities. That's why I talked about, the production-linked incentive scheme, so that companies which would have otherwise been risk averse have taken the steps to either increase their capacities or also increase, in greenfield facilities, with this impetus given by the government. So this is not something that, will be a simple issue of, saying that we will displace China. I don't think that's the intention. Again, my view is that, we have to look at the entire global supply chain all across the world. There is increasing situation where countries are talking about localization, but I firmly believe that it has to be more of a diversified supply chain where people, work together and not try to displace each other. So that would be my view on that. So, Prasad, you want to talk about sustainability, and then we can have Eliz answer the question.
I think the 3 points I want to cover. One is on innovation. The second one was on digital, and third is on sustainability. On innovation, it's a very high priority for us. It's not just in terms of new products to the market, but also new areas require our efforts to bring therapies to the market, as well as play in the digital ecosystem that we've just launched a pilot. We have many initiatives, and digital innovation, both of these are top in our top 5 priorities. So there's certainly a lot more coming out of our innovation efforts, and digitalization is a huge priority for us, and we are working on all aspects of the value chain here. In terms of sustainability, we've made a lot of progress. We took some very ambitious goals to reduce our emissions, reduce the intensity of materials in our products, and also use products which are biodegradable and recyclable. We are one of the leaders in sustainability in the pharmaceutical space, and we've been recognized for that. There is an ongoing program to reduce our carbon footprint, and I'm very proud of the progress we made. We've published all our results in a sustainability report. It's available on our website, and I encourage you to go and review it to understand our efforts in sustainability. Thank you. Next question, maybe.
Thank you. I now invite Mr. Kamal Kishore Jhawar to unmute your audio and proceed with your question, please. Mr. Kamal Jhawar, please unmute your audio and proceed with your question.
Mr. Kamal Kishore Jhawar.
Maybe you can take the next question and come back to him later.
Yes, we will take the next question, which is from the line of Mr. Dipankar Purkastia. Please proceed. Please unmute your audio video and proceed with your question, please.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I've got 5 questions basically. The first is regarding Sputnik 5. What will be the production in India in terms of number of doses during FY21 and FY22? What are the prospects for sale of the doses outside India? Made in India, but can you sell outside India? And what will be the price at which you will sell in India and abroad? My next question is on the future of the US generics business. We've been observing that for the last few years, there has been a continuous downward pressure on margins. The Q1 results which you released yesterday only confirm that trend. So what will be the long-term future of this business? The way I see it is that apparently this business is only going to serve to recover your fixed cost overheads, and it will not be a driver of profits in future. So am I correct in that reading or in that assessment? My next question is on your API business. for the ever since these geopolitical tensions with China and the COVID-19 crisis broke, I find that every pharma company in India is rushing into this API business. So what is differentiating about your strategy for the API business? Are there specific therapeutic areas that you plan to target, or molecules that you will be focusing on, patented, non-patented? So if you can give us some your thoughts on this. And are you going to apply under the PLI scheme which the government has launched for API? My next question is on these impairment charges. For the last 2 years, we have been seeing impairment charges. Shareholders come to know of this only when the accounts are finalized. When you find impairment is underway, why don't you give early warning signals to the shareholders by, say, intimating the stock exchanges instead of waiting for the accounts to be finalized? And finally, my last question is on acquisitions. Some time back, you all had done an acquisition in Germany, and you had also acquired products from Teva. Neither of these have been very successful and resulted in large impairment charges. So what are the lessons you have learned from these? Why I ask this question is because we have again got good cash balances, and I keep hearing that you will be doing some inorganic growth if you find opportunities. So what are the lessons that you have learned from these two bad experiences in the past? That's all. Thank you for the time and good day.
Thank you, Mr. Deepankar. Prasad, you want to take it?
Yeah. Let me answer this in parts. The first question was on Sputnik availability. Sputnik, we have some supply challenges, and that's related to the second dose of the vaccine. Both the Russians and the Indian companies are this, and as it as it gets resolved, supply will increase, and then we will increase the rollout. We expect this to happen in the next few months. But having said that, I think there is some uncertainty still about supplies from Russia, as well as the scale-up and approval process in India. It will take some time. Your question on the generics business, I think the generics business is always driven by competition. So if a company doesn't innovate, launch new products, go into segments which have lesser competition, you're right, prices will decrease and it will become less valuable. However, the US is the largest generics market. It is still very attractive. There's still good opportunities there for products if you can deliver complex assets with less competition. And also products where the company has a strong competitive position, this will be very useful. So I still think the US market is quite attractive. It is not just meeting overheads, but it actually contributes significantly to the overall profit pool. In terms of the API, you're right, a lot of companies have jumped into this. APIs was the business with which Dr. Reddy's was founded, so the company is very strong in its capabilities in developing products that the market needs, as well as to drive costs down. Of course, in the last few years, our costs have been a little offline, and now we have focused heavily on improving our competitiveness in the API business, and I still see it as a business in which we can claim the leadership position. We are aiming for that. So I feel quite bullish about that. You also asked us about the PLI scheme. The PLI scheme, we will make an application for some of the products, and it's certainly on our agenda. You mentioned, we made a comment about impairment charges. Yes, impairment charges come only when you finalize the accounts. The process is such that you only recognize it at the end of the quarter when you do a valuation process. We cannot deviate from that, and we follow GAAP procedures, and it doesn't allow us to give you any advance or early warning. In terms of M&A, you made a comment about Germany and also the Teva assets. I have to say that Germany, while in a short term it led to some impairment, in the long term it has established ourselves as a serious player in the German market. We had to impair because the market moved from a branded market to a tender market, and that structural shift is what caused us the impairment at that point. But you will be happy to note that the German business is doing quite well and is growing quite well. The other thing you mentioned is about the Teva impairment. Yes, one of the assets we were not successful in bringing it to the market, which led to the impairment charges. But overall, the deal has delivered value, while Nuvaring is the asset which was led to the impairment. The portfolio has been positive and accretive for the company. Broad lessons, I think, every M&A has risk, and we have to be careful about what risks we take on and how we execute to mitigate the risks. And I think we've been pretty good at some of the acquisitions, especially the most recent one that we acquired in India. The workout business has clearly, met all our targets, and we continue to learn and improve. So, yeah, thank you for your suggestions. Thanks.
Next speaker, shareholder, please.
Thank you. I now invite Mr. Kamal Kishore Jawar to unmute audio and proceed with your question, please.
हाँ सर, मेरा आवाज आ रहा है सर?
हाँ कमल जी, you can go ahead. कमल
मेरा आवाज आ रहा है?
हेलो, हाँ बोलिए कमल जी, सुने आ रहा है.
मेरा आवाज आ रहा है सर?
Yes, Mr. Jawar, we can hear you.
हाँ चेयरमैन सर, ऑल राइटर को मेरा नमस्कार. आज अपना सेकंड वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है सर कोरोना के बाद. एवरी ईयर अपना मीटिंग ऐसी वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस में रखे सब तरफ से हमारे को भी सुनने को मिलता है. उसके वास्ते मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ. और सर आपने जो कुवैत के वास्ते जो फार्मास्यूटिकल्स निकाले, फार्मा मेडिसिन, बहुत बड़ी खुशी की बात है. बहुत अच्छा काम, अच्छा दवा निकालने से सबको बेनिफिट मिला है. और एक सर कल अपना सीएनबीसी में अग्रवाल साहब का भी मैं सामने कल सीएनबीसी में देखा था इंटरव्यू, जो ये क्वार्टर के अलावा आते 100 क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छा रहेगा बोल के, तो हमको उसके वास्ते बहुत धन्यवाद आपका. और सर अभी अगेन नेक्स्ट पाइपलाइन में कोरोना जो अभी ज्यादा कम फैलते जा रहा है, उसके वास्ते पाइपलाइन और कोई ऐसी दवा निकालिए तो कम से कम अपना डॉक्टर रेड्डी का ही नाम हो, कि डॉक्टर रेड्डी की दवा अच्छा सेल हो, टर्नओवर हो, सब कुछ अच्छा हो. तो पाइपलाइन में कोरोना के वास्ते रिसर्च करके कोई ऐसी अच्छा दवा निकालो और इसका रेट भी कम हो तो कम से कम अपना सेल भी बहुत अच्छा बढ़ता है. और आगे साथ सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट में हमारे को बहुत विश्वास मिलता है. कभी भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है तो हमारे को सेम डे क्लियर मिल जाता है. धन्यवाद सर.
Thank you, Kamal ji. We can go to the next question, please.
Thank you. I now invite Mr. Praful Chawda to unmute audio and video and ask questions.
चेयरमैन सर, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स, मेरा नाम प्रफुल चावड़ा है. सर खासतौर पे एजीएम रिपोर्ट पढ़ने के बाद और सतीश रेड्डी सर, हमारे चेयरमैन सर का और जीवी प्रसाद सर का स्पीच देखने के बाद कुछ क्वेश्चन रहता नहीं, तो भी हमारे एक दो स्पीकर ने बहुत अच्छे क्वेश्चन किए और वो क्वेश्चन में रिपीट करना नहीं चाहता हूँ. परंतु ये बात तो कहना चाहता हूँ कि एजीएम रिपोर्ट बनाने वाले जो भी टीम है, इसको मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि अच्छे से अच्छे एजीएम रिपोर्ट बनाया हुआ है. तो सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट को धन्यवाद. खासतौर पे सर अभी डॉक्टर लोग हमको एक कंफ्यूजन करते हैं कि जेनरिक दवा लेना या एलोपैथिक दवा लेना, तो आप ये बताएंगे जेनरिक दवा और एलोपैथिक दवा में क्या डिफरेंस रहता है और इसमें कुछ नुकसान होता है क्या? जेनरिक दवा स्लो असर करता है या मरीज जो पेशेंट है इसको देर से अच्छा होता है, ऐसा कुछ होता है या नहीं, वो बार बताएंगे सर. खासतौर पे रशियन गवर्नमेंट को और रशियन कंपनियों को भी धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि रेडी लैब जैसी इंडिया की सबसे बड़ी कंपनी से टाई अप किया. तो सर कोविड-19 में आजकल डिफरेंट टाइप के वैक्सीन आ रहे. अभी कल भी मैंने सुना कि लेसर से भी कोरोना वायरस मर जा रहे. तो ये कोरोना वायरस का बिजनेस अपने को कितना चलेगा और कैसा चलेगा, आगे फ्यूचर कैसा रहेगा? इसके कहीं भी ये कहते हैं कि बार बार लगाना पड़ेगा, 1 ईयर लगाना पड़ेगा, तो इसके बारे में बताएंगे. बहरहाल सब कुछ अच्छा हो रहा है सर. CSR में एक बात करना चाहता हूँ कि CRS में आज तक रेडी लैब ने जो काम किया बहुत अच्छा काम किया है. तो सर एक बात है कि कंपनी की तरफ से ऐसे कोई प्लेयर को हेल्प नहीं किया गया कि वो प्लेयर आगे जाके इंडिया को गोल्ड मेडल, सिल्वर मेडल दिला सके. तो नेक्स्ट फ्यूचर में आप इसमें फोकस कीजिए, इंडिया से कहीं से भी अच्छे प्लेयरों को हेल्प कीजिए. जो गरीब प्लेयर है आगे नहीं बढ़ सकता है, इसको अच्छा खाना पीना नहीं मिलता है, तो ऐसा अरेंजमेंट करके ये लोगों को आगे लेके आए और बता दीजिए कि रेडी लैब जो काम करता है तो इंडिया को 1 नहीं 10 गोल्ड मेडल भी दिला सकते हैं. उसके बारे में भी सोचिए. धन्यवाद सर.
थैंक यू चावला जी. जस्ट जेनरिक्स के बारे में कुछ बताना चाहूँगा आपको. So it all depends on your doctor, right? आपको जो डॉक्टर जो बताएगा कौन सी दवा लेना चाहिए, you should go according to your doctor's advice, because this whole substitution, right? So the doctors prescribe, say, our company's medicine because he trusts our brand, he trusts our quality, he knows about the company's systems, quality systems, everything. That's why he has a confidence to prescribe the medicine. So if it is being substituted, there has to be a very clear reason why it's being done, and it has to be done the ethical way. So that's something I would just ask you to be cautious about that, because it's the issue of the quality systems, right, in terms of the medicine that you're getting. In terms of the virus, you also said, it's like how long will this last? It is a pandemic. It's not an easy solution. Just when we thought it was getting over in India, we found the new variant again has wreaked havoc, not just in India, but also across the world. Right. So the thing is, we have to live with the pandemic, but there's always better solutions, because now we have therapeutics to treat the disease. We also have vaccines, which will provide the immunity as we go forward, and more booster doses which will be given in the future, which will help us address the pandemic. That's something we have to live with it as we go on. So that's the responses. Can we have the next speaker, please?
I now invite Mr. Ramesh Shankar Gola to unmute audio video and proceed with your question.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Gola, you may proceed with your question.
Okay. You audible?
Yes.
Sir, I'm Ramesh Shankar Gola, sir, shareholder. Sir, first of all, congratulate to our chairman and co-chairman G.V. Prasad Garu, and greet to all other directors and fellow shareholders. Sir, hearing, sir?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Continue, Mr. Ramesh.
Yes, sir. I'm sir. Yeah. First question is bonus shares, and also rights issue and very less premium, sir. Why? Because our funds is more, sir. जो आप लोग हम शेयर होल्डर्स को दिए तो उनका धन भी बढ़ेगा, सर. वैसी स्प्लिट के बारे में भी पूछ रहे, सर. और एक क्वेश्चन, हम ये साल में फॉरेन एक्सचेंज कितना कमाया, एंड कमिंग ईयर व्हाट इज द एक्सपेक्टेशन ऑफ इन फॉरेन एक्सचेंज सम. सर, और ये जेनरिक प्रोडक्ट्स में ज्यादा सा हम मैं लेते रहता, सर. उधर Walker and Sun Pharmaceuticals, again Cipla and Torrent is so many companies was seeing, sir, and Alchem also. But our drugs, generic drugs, not seen, sir. But why I am मेरे को मालूम नहीं, बट हम ये कौन सा फॉर्मूला से हम बनाता वो मेरे को मालूम नहीं. दैट और एक सर, अभी CSR एक्टिविटीज वेरी गुड, सर. एनी फोकस ऑन अदर CSR items, sir. And sir, our 2G and Sputnik is very good name was comes, sir. That also Sputnik, please throw light on Sputnik Light, sir. Also sir, employees was doing very well, and our company secretary Sandeep Podarji is very humanistic person, sir. He is taking some when I call, he is taking like brother. So much appreciate, sir. And also, secretarial team is very good, sir. इसमें क्या है सर, जो ऊपर वाले को जो नीचे वाला मिडिल मैनेजमेंट कौन अच्छा से रिसीव करता, इज गोइंग टू अपवर्ड सर. आप लोगों को अच्छा सा नाम आता. दिस इज आई एम सीन सर. एंड ऑल्सो is going atmosphere and is very good, sir, for our office. Sir, next, sir. Sir, how many generic products is going under क्या बोलता सर उसका? नया प्रोडक्ट्स कितना क्या क्या वो बन रहा है सर इन R&D सर? दैट आल्सो सर.
Okay, are you finished, Mr. Ramesh?
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. I am giving to very good wishes and all to our colleagues and your colleagues and our colleagues and staff, sir. Thank you very much, and very good opportunity for me, sir. Have a good day, and wish you good luck and God bless you all, sir.
Thank you. So I'll take the generics part of it. I'll hand it over to our CFO, Mr. Parag Agarwal, for the Forex question. Again, generics, like I've said, this is a different channel, and again I would look at it from the perspective of saying, look at the doctor's prescription. He does it with a trust, and it's not to be substituted because that's not legal in this country without the doctor's permission. So if you're asking why Dr. Reddy's is not into this generics when these other companies are into it, so it is a different channel which they're addressing. They're not addressing the regular channel in which the Dr. Reddy's products are being distributed. There's a different reason, there's a different business model. That's why some companies have done it. We have chosen not to do that, right? We have considered it in the past and we chose not to do it. But it again depends on the future, how things work and all that. So that's a different matter. But this is the reason why we are not there in this, when most of the other companies, when not all of them, just a handful of companies are in this part of the business. Parag, you want to answer the Forex part?
Rameshji, about your question on exports, during financial year 2021, we had exports of more than 9,700 crores from India, and these grew by more than 13% over previous year. In the years to come, we expect to continue to grow exports because we are expanding our portfolio as well as we are entering new markets all over the world.
Chairman, if I'm allowed, I have one message from a shareholder, Mr. Yogananda, with client ID 122533839. He says, I appreciate our board of directors, staff, employees for showing good work in this pandemic and of giving good results. May I request the board to think of issuing bonus shares in the ratio of 10 for every 1 share so that the company can be accessible to more small investors. Thank you.
Okay.
With this, we are done with the speaker shareholders. Thank you for your participation. Members may note that the voting on the NSDL platform will continue to be available for 30 minutes. Members who have not cast their vote yet are requested to do so.